Getting to orbit for the first time in KSP can be one of the hardest parts of the game. However, it can also be one of the most rewarding things you can do. It opens up a whole new world of things to do, from building space stations, satellite networks, or landing on other planets. Getting to orbit is the first step on that journey. I have been playing Kerbal Space Program for over 7 years and have accumulated almost 1,000 hours of in-game time. This guide will show you the steps you must take to be successful in getting your Kerbal X rocket into orbit. The first step for a successful launch is to check your staging. Make sure all your engines are going to fire in the order that you expect them to, and your launch clamps are going to release when they're supposed to. First thing we're going to do is we're going to initialize stability control by hitting T. This will initiate SAS. We're also going to select stability assist. Use the Z key to bring your throttle all the way up, and hit the space bar to stage. When we're going to orbit, it is good to keep the altimeter set to the relative position from the sea than the land. As pods and stages lose fuel, we're going to drop them by hitting the space bar. As we approach 2,000 meters, we will start to pitch over using the D key. These tanks have now run out of propellant, so I will stage them. Continuing to pitch over. You'll want to pitch over until you reach approximately 35 degrees, as indicated here on the nav ball. You can toggle your map view to orbital to view your trajectory. We're not going to want to stop burning until this is in excess of 80 kilometers. As you can see here, I'm using the D key and continuing to control my pitch. This maneuver is what's known as a gravity turn and optimizes the performance of the rocket. Something to avoid, and a mistake I made here, is to keep an eye on your fuel tanks. In this case, I'm carrying 2 extra fuel tanks. I didn't notice. You can view your apogee by hovering over the apogee node. I'm going to stay in this view because it's the easiest one to see my apogee. I'm going to aim for 100 kilometers in this case. As I approach it, I'm going to use the control key to throttle down to make sure I don't overshoot. Our next step will be to create a maneuver node at our apogee. We're going to extend it prograde, circularize it. That looks pretty good. And click out of it. We'll now use our nav ball and click to the maneuver node, and it will automatically adjust our trajectory to it. Our next step will be to warp to the maneuver node. The KSP wiki states that to get the best burn, it is recommended to perform half the burn before the node and the other half after it. So let's do just that. We're going to time warp to right in front of our node, keeping an eye on our time to node and burn time. In this case, when the time to node equals about 8 seconds, we're going to hit Z and start our burn. I'm going to use the time warp manually to speed up just a little bit. And go. As you can see, our orbit in blue is starting to reach our target orbit that is in the dotted line. Again, as we approach 0 here, we should bring down our thrust using control so we don't overshoot, using X to kill it out. Congratulations, you're now in orbit. Now that our crew is safely in orbit, let's have some fun. I'm going to rotate the rocket over using Q, so our hatch is facing towards us. I'm going to go over to my Kerbals here and hit EVA. Now our Kerbal nut is on the outside of the spacecraft. I'm going to hit the space bar to let go. And I'm going to hit R to enable the jetpack. Now our Kerbal is free flying in space. Isn't he so happy? Fun fact, according to the KSP Wiki, Kerbals are only 2.5 feet tall. Congratulations, you have now learned all that is necessary to get something into orbit in KSP, including how to perform a gravity turn and circularizing your orbit. You now have all the tools you need to explore the Kerbal system, and I can't wait to see what spacecraft you build to do it.